Now, first, Jeremy has got a story in the paper today, and I'm going to warn you now, it's quite a horrifying one to read. I think it's one we all ought to hear about. If you are easily upset by grisly news stories, maybe just mute it for 10 minutes or so and come back to us later. Jeremy, can you take us through what this is all about, please?
Yeah, I think it's probably the worst drink drive case which I've ever covered in 31 years on the paper. It's a story of a man who arrived at Newcastle Airport in the early hours of the morning, having been on a holiday in Turkey, decided for some reason known only to himself to set off on a journey to Yorkshire. He's from Rotherham, when he was inebriated, and was weaving in and out of traffic. Was witnessed in the early hours of the morning around about 2:30, 3 o'clock, the crossing Gateshead, my hometown, going along the Farm bypass for people who have knowledge of that route and that road, and ended up catching up with a lady who just literally had just picked up a sister at the airport and had a little baby boy in the back of the car. And he, for some reason known only to himself, took a picture of his dashboard at 141 miles an hour in the moments before he drove into the back of this lady's vehicle. And the impact was devastating, killed her baby son, 8-month-old Zackary Warner, killed her auntie, a lady called Karlene, who just qualified as an air hostess. Had actually come back from holiday to start a dream job, and left mum desperately seeking both of them because the impact had thrown them free of the wreckage. So it was an incredibly emotional hearing yesterday. She gave a statement directly in front of the man who was responsible for her child's death. The partner of her sister demanded that he look at him when he was making his statement. And there were about 50 people inside the court, supporters, family members. Really, really just the most appalling case I've ever come across, I think.
Yeah, no, it does say in the paper. At one point, the mum who had survived the crash was sort of searching through the wreckage immediately afterwards, looking for her 8-month-old. She was picking up pieces of car to see if he was underneath, and sort of waving down people to try and help. And eventually, a lorry driver who'd stopped sort of said, "He's over here. He's on the verge," and she grabbed him and gave him a big hug. Now, you were in court, Jeremy, for all this. It must have been very traumatic for you to listen to as well. And
it is. I think, yeah, I was in tears. Everyone was in tears listening to the mum's account.
It's just horrific. Just to have to listen to the evidence and have to process it all and everything else, even though you're not part of it when you're a journalist. It is still very affecting. How did the driver react during the trial at the verdict when the partner was saying, "Look at me," when I'm giving my statement? Did he offer any explanation for any of this? He was
shaking. I mean, it was a terrible, terrible account. I mean, he basically tried to lie about picking up a hitchhiker because he realised what he'd done. He said that he picked up a hitchhiker and that the hitchhiker was driving and then disappeared at the time of the crash. And of course, his DNA was found on the airbag. I think he obviously realised that he wasn't going to get away with those lies and did admit to it in the end. But it's just what he did, isn't it? The choices he made. Why he was taking pictures. He made some reference to having a row on holiday with his wife and finding a new wife. Why he decided to take a picture of the dashboard 141 miles an hour? Was he going to send it to somebody? Was he going to try and make some sort of show out of it? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But he times the drink drive limit at the side of the road, and the repercussions of what he did were just absolutely devastating. I don't know what else one can say, really.
Yeah.
The baby's life lost, our auntie's life lost, all those lives ruined. And the lady, Shalona's sister, she was a mum, so the partner was obviously talking about their daughter, and the dad of both of them, both Shalona and Karlene, the granddad of the bairn, Zackary, was giving his account as well, and just taking that phone call in the early hours of the morning from his daughter, describing that. You just cannot imagine that.
It's just
there are no words for it. And there's a life sentence now for drink driving.
Yeah, Emily says, "Don't drink drive. He needs to be jailed." I mean, he has been. What's the sentence that he's got?
He got 17 years.
Tagged on the end, isn't it?
He got 17 years and 3 months. I mean, the judge made the point that one cannot, in the sentence, make up for the loss, and I accept that entirely. But I do find it staggering that he wasn't given a life sentence, and I also find it staggering that he wasn't banned from driving for life. He was banned from driving for 21 years, I think, under these fairly complicated guidelines that they have now. I don't know. I think if you were a member, if you knew of the family of the victims, if you knew the family, if you were in court, actually listening to that evidence, the scale of culpability was so high. I'm really, really astonished that he wasn't banned from driving for life.
Yeah, and it's as well. I mean, he's picked up his car at the airport. Did he get it from like a valet service? Just pick it up.
It was a meet and greet. Yeah, it was a meet and greet. I mean, that was covered.
He's given him the keys when he's leathered.
I don't know. I mean, it was said that although he was behaving erratically, that he didn't appear to be inebriated. No, he had a bottle. The thing is, he had a bottle of vodka. Well, a bottle of vodka was found in the vicinity of the wreckage. So whether he's driving whether he was actually drinking while he was driving, if that makes sense, I don't know. I don't know. Only he knows how much alcohol he had.
Yeah.
But he was 3 times the limit in the breath test, and he was 2 times the limit in the blood test.
Yeah. And so. Yeah, normally you can tell, can't you? Steve said his driving ban should be lifelong. It's such a tragic story. Now, at this stage, I usually ask something like, well, what happens next as a result of all this? But, with this kind of case, the answer is usually nothing very much. This guy's going to jail for a long time. He'll be banned from driving for a long time when he gets out. Zackary's gone. Karlene's gone. The family is devastated, probably never going to be able to heal that gap that's in their lives now. And people are going to keep on speeding, won't they? I mean, Jeremy, can you see any reason, because I can't, aside from whether or not, it should be a criminal offence to let someone drive, to give someone if you have their car keys, to physically let them have the car keys when they're drunk. But can you see any reason why it's legal to sell a car that is capable of doing 140 miles an hour to anybody? They sell speed limiters on lorries and trucks. Why don't we have speed limiters on civilian cars?
I mean, when one hears cases like this, because of the extreme nature of the behaviour, you do tend to think of extreme measures, and I can understand that completely. 141 miles an hour while taking footage of it on his mobile phone. He'd also been sending messages on WhatsApp. Yeah. What can you say about that behaviour? Yeah. As the judge said, he risked the life of every man, woman, and child who he passed that night when he left the airport. And in answer to your question about speedometers, I mean, and how that would work, I don't know. It would be one for the motoring industry. It's such an extreme case. I just, I don't know. Why would one, obviously all these high performance cars now are capable of doing well in excess of 100 miles an hour. So,
but why? There's no way you can drive them at that speed. The limit's 70. And if you want to go around a racetrack for a day, you can get in a race car and do it. If you want to train as a police officer and chase someone very fast down the motorway, I don't mind you having a 140 mile an hour car, because you probably need it to catch like the murderer. But none of us, my car goes up to 130 or something. I've never done it, obviously, but it's there on the speedometer. And yours is probably the same, Joe. None of us need to go that speed. I don't know why it's legal to sell a car that can go that fast, because I cannot see any reason. It's like
I'm going to Europe, and there's not a speed limit in Germany. I guess the argument would be if you buy a German car, if you're going to Germany, you
go to Germany then.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that one.
I understand in the context of this case why you would feel that way.
Yeah, I do tend to think that there's just no earthly good reason for it. People only abuse it and are idiots, because human beings are, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you for taking us through that, Jeremy. Now, let us know, have you got any questions? What do you think about mandatory speed limits or speed limiters on motor vehicles for civilians? 70 miles an hour max, and that's a bit excessive. Can be sometimes, yeah. Says Sutcliffe. Now, what do you think? Do you think that there should be, it should be illegal to sell cars that can go that fast? Get into the comments and let us know.